Ladies and
confuses.
gentlemen, welcome back here
Oh.
to the show. Hi, Jay. How you doing?
Hot mics.
Hey.
Hot mics, everyone.
Hot mics, thanks for the warning. You know, in production, normally they give us a countdown, right? I know you know this.
Yeah, but usually they're not hosting the show too. I'm typically good about it. I'm rusty. It's been 6 weeks since we've had this show, and all we heard Jay House say was num num num. I don't know what that means, but. So, you know, we talked a lot about things and stuff and great things in the first half. Mainly that Lunara is the only right choice right now when you log into the game.
Mistakes were made.
No, that is the only choice. But Jayhow, what's that thing that you want to plug all throughout the show?
Yeah, so the 3v3 tournament, you know, we're kind of breaking the rules a little bit. We're going on Lost Caverns. We're making it 3v3. It's still an ARAM style. A few of the rules are going to be a little bit different to kind of give a little bit of diversity to the meta. Trying to have a little bit of fun with it. 4 community streamers, which is March, who we have down there in the bottom middle, the middle Brady. But you pointed at me.
Yeah. You were talking about me.
Oh, wait, hold on. That guy. March, we've got Alicia Wins, we've got Kagiri, and I forgot about Dunk Train, so we don't have a Dunk Train. I'm really sorry about that. And we also have Tim from Heroes of Fitness, and then we've got 8 HGC pro players, so we're basically doing it captain style. The 4 community streamers will be able to draft players, which I think will be pretty cool. It's almost like old school kickball. So I think that'll be fun to see who prioritizes who. So we've got a good mix of HGC pro players. I'm going to be doing it with Haloran. So we're trying to make a little bit more of like a wrestling Nexomania style. I had been planning the event for a while, and then Blizzard and I had talked, and they had given me the info on the Nexomania, so I kind of themed it around that, which was really cool. So really appreciate that. Also, as of last night, I got 35 codes for loot chest things. So there's like 5 rare loot chests that you get per code. So we're going to be doing giveaways for that. There's some other stuff that I'm going to be working on. And the entire thing, you know, there's different ideas that you can throw out there. We're not doing a prize pool or anything like that. We're strictly doing it. There's a donation link up on my channel. If you just type in !charity or something like that. It's also on my Twitter. It's been on Reddit. But we're doing the donation, the raising for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So all the stuff that you can go through there will go directly to there. All the donations, they're not going to the players. They're not going to me. It's just all going through Tiltify, which is tied in. Made some really cool donation things strictly for this event that are wrestling themed. So I'm hoping everybody can be a part of that, even if you're not, you know, able to donate, which I think a lot of us probably aren't normally. Just being there, being a part of it, or trying to get the word out. Again, just the fact that we're doing it for charity is kind of the big part of it. So hopefully everybody enjoys that this Saturday. 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern, or 9 Central European time. Thank you.
I'm going to use this opportunity to just call to attention the information on the screen you have for everyone. If you want to follow their Twitch, Jayhouse streams, Kala streams, March streams, Dunk streams, Bakery Once streamed, their Twitch accounts are all on the channel here, and you should follow my channel right now for a chance to get wrenched. This is an exclusive wrenched mouth. It's supposed to be wretched, but it was wrenched at Gamescom. I found it in my suitcase. Oh, we're getting wrenched together, boys.
Wait, what?
And I'm gonna start the giveaway right now. Hashtag type !wrenched WRENCHED in chat to enter the giveaway. And I will send one lucky winner a code. But let's move on into bigger and better things. Do you guys want to make the tier list before we go into roster apocalypse? Colin, you
Rainer, number 1.
Rainer, number 1 for rework. So tier list of heroes that need to be reworked the most.
I think that goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah,
like, I feel like Rainer is just number 1. No contest.
I say Brightwing, but that's me. So you say Rainer. March says Rainer.
Oh, Brightwing over Rainer.
Yeah, because I think
Brightwing actually shows up in games.
But
so does Raynor, dude.
Yeah, I think it would be better for the top level if Brightwing was relevant.
honestly, if you just gave Raynor numbers buffs, he could be viable. Like, I'm not even kidding. He's actually got a decent kit. He's got decent wave clear. He's got consistent damage. He's got healing. Like he's got 6.5 range. Like,
So
I'm changing mine. Diva needs
speed.
Diva needs rework.
I have a question for you guys, which would really encompass Raynor, but a couple of other heroes as well, like Falstad. Seasoned Marksman. Okay, right now you get, what, 0.2 damage when you kill a minion? And 0.5 when you get a hero takedown. If that was, say, 1 attack damage per hero takedown, would you be okay with that? Like a blanket Seasoned Marksman change?
That seems. I just don't think Seasoned Marksman is a compelling talent, really.
You mean trait?
And I think it. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, or what if it was made a trait?
It would be a trait at that point if you were to make a baseline, yeah.
Would you make a baseline for multiple heroes?
That's the kind of the question is, like, do you make it like a Raynor thing? Because, I mean, how many heroes have this? Raynor, Falstad,
Artanis,
and then Illidan has his own version.
Zagara has an own version as well. Tychus kind of. In terms of that, what's it called?
I don't know. If you make Seasoned Marksman that strong, Raynor exists in the 4-man anyways. He's going to get stacked on Seasoned Marksman. It's not a question of if. It's basically a matter of what time he gets stacked at. I think his attack damage would be just disgusting at that point. Like, way too high. I don't think his damage is really the problem. He's just... Do you remember when they nerfed his health pool and they nerfed his E? That's when he fell out of the game, like, completely.
They buffed his E not too long ago to be on a shorter cooldown.
So he needs space boots.
The cooldown's not the issue. It's the fact that literally Raynor can just die without his passive blocking, I'd say about 50% of the time.
Yeah.
If you just gave him slightly more health and made it trigger earlier, and then gave him, I'm not even kidding, like a 2 attack damage buff, I swear he'd be viable.
Or do you know what? Remember what they did with Hammer? How they gave her the coating on her E. So you could do a similar thing with Raynor. Give him an active ability on his E, not just the passive proc, but an active that maybe gives him 30 armor. You know, so that at least he has something against those Genji dives, something against tank engages.
That was actually my Raynor rework, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I have this Raynor rework. I'm really happy with it, actually. So I don't know what I did. I feel like I made the W, like the attack speed, his trait. So every time you used an ability, it would like you use an aura that gave him attack speed. And the idea would be you add skill cap by forcing players to juggle that like passive. And then his W gave him like bullets that pierced and did like extra damage. His Q stayed the same, and then his E just gave him 50 armor for 2 seconds when it procced, so that you couldn't get bursted by Genji.
See, I think that would help him a lot, because then there's also counterplay. You can trigger that. It's basically like blowing a cleanse on the opponent's team. You can trigger it and then look for a re-engage and then kill him. His kit has counterplay. He doesn't die to a single Genji E and Shingan. Everyone's happy except for Genji. Genji's not happy.
So
I hope he's not happy.
The only other MOBA I've actually played is a game called Awesome Knots. It's a 2D top-down MOBA. It's 3v3. It's really different. And the Raynor rework that I had envisioned was inspired by a character called Ted McPain, which is a hilarious name for a character. He's just like a soldier. But anyways, he can swap his gun. He can go from a rifle, which is a little bit more normal damage, and he can go to a shotgun. And I was thinking about the idea of Raynor. How would you help him if you were to make it so that he has a shotgun that is like low range? It would also change his Q. So he would have like the penetrating round in his Q, and he'd have a shotgun blast in his Q. And a shotgun blast would be decent damage, but stun, right? And this would give him anti-dive. And I thought that was a really interesting idea for him, because really Raynor doesn't have mobility. How do you fix mobility? If you whiff your penetrating round, it feels really bad to push them away. But by giving him a really short range cone stun in the form of a shotgun that could also give him more lane clear too, by the way, its auto attacks would be spread damage. I think that would make Raynor really interesting as a hero by basically changing his Q. Then you don't have to change his E for the self-sustain. His trait would actually be you have the additional range with your rifle, or you have the AoE spread damage with your shotgun, and it changes his Q between the two. So he gets one more ability technically, and maybe D swaps your weapon. But I think that would be pretty fun.
Interesting.
The only thing I really want changed on Raynor is reduce the duration of his attack speed buff, because I think having more concentrated power buffs on things like, so Raynor's W is just attack speed aura, right? It's really bland, and the uptime is ridiculously high. So effectively, like, it's a certain value that's just averaged out over the team fight, and it's boring. When you take buffs and you condense them so they provide similar value in a shorter time frame, you make much more compelling gameplay moments and essentially like rhythms within the team fight, which I think is really important, and something that Raynor is lacking is that aura is just always there, rather than having like a, oh shit, Raynor popped his W, back off for a second type situation, which is what's compelling about team fighting in MOBAs.
Yeah,
Kinda like
completely
Greymane.
agree.
Yeah, exactly like Greymane, where he has like the combo system. Yeah.
And like you can actually disengage from fights when he pops his W, and you know it's not going to be up. I really like that. That's smart.
Rip Greymane, by the way.
Yeah. Rest in pepperonis.
We know that Raynor is being reworked. Yeah, I know that, but it doesn't mean that we can't express our ideas and our feedback as to why we think he's irrelevant in the current meta. But yeah, I'm hopeful for the Raynor rework. Hopefully it's good. He's reaching for the bake.
I'm trying to find him. Is it right?
But do we
Oh,
need
got him.
a hero like Raynor with the simplicity of
No.
who he is?
For noobs?
Do we need this hero? Like, who
Yeah,
becomes the new mindless, I'm just learning the game and trying to auto attack hero? Vala is, I think,
Like,
too complex for new people, and
Paula
'cause
dies
she's
so
squishy.
fast, though.
I think Raynor is an awful first hero to learn how to play. Like, if you sit me down in a MOBA and I'm playing Raynor in a goddamn game where there's Genjis flying around and Tracers die, like, I'm gonna have a bad goddamn time. Raynor
You're
should
totally
not
right.
be suggested for a new player. Vala is like, even though Vala is still risky, like, it's not good. Like, Raynor's
But I feel
not
like
a good first
Phoenix
new
is that
player
hero.
experience.
Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix
Uh,
is like, you've got interesting things to do. You don't ever have to press your W. You can not feel bad about not
He has no
pressing it. You
mana.
have mobility. He doesn't have mana to worry about. Like, I agree. Phoenix is
Very
a much
easy.
better hero.
Wait,
I think there are
Raynor
better
has
heroes.
mana?
There are better heroes across the roles. You know, Muradin, a very simple hero, very effective
Yeah.
hero, and all of his kit makes sense. His E is a gap close, his W is a utility ability, his Q is his CC. Very simple. His heroics are also very simple. One is your tanking one is your rich hero one. Like, it's very simple. And then your ETC, same thing.
Yeah.
Pretty simple hero. And then across the range assassin pool, I think that there are some range assassins that are easier than Raynor and more effective. And I totally agree with you, Doug. You run a Raynor into this game, you just get swift struck onto. All of a sudden, you're just sitting there trying to hold the line as James. It's like, this isn't gonna happen, you guys.
If I was to like suggest a ranged hero to a new player, I'd be like, "Yo, try Li Ming. You can just throw shit constantly
Yeah.
and like figure out your
Totally
aim.
agree.
You
Li
can
Ming's a lot of
teleport
fun.
away. Like, way better for that kind of experience."
So here's the thing: is I think Raynor should be that hero. He's actually not right now, and I feel like he should be. Honestly, I feel like there's such a he's begging for the niche of being a hero that is very easy to learn to auto attack with, but very hard to die with. Like, and that doesn't have to be mobility. Like, if you just make him undiveable, then he's a great way for a new player to actually learn the game. Because you learn the auto attack, you learn aiming the Q, which I would actually make slightly wider to account for the fact that he should be a new player hero. And then you make his E like really strong, cannot get bursted ability. He is the perfect beginner hero, in my opinion. But he's terrible right now. Completely agree.
So you mean he could be the perfect
could be.
beginner hero?
Yeah, he could be.
And if all you're going to
very
do is
small
That would be just by tuning numbers and not necessarily reworking, or
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Like not reworking anything, like even his talents, but just like small additions and small tuning changes, and he could be the perfect beginner here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Who else desperately needs a rework?
Oh,
My
yeah,
vote is
twice.
Diva, honestly.
Diva, the Lost Vikings,
Diva?
Zagara.
Yeah.
Why do you think Diva
sucks.
needs a rework?
Right.
I mean,
She
okay,
sucks.
but she sucks because her numbers got nerfed. She was awesome and super fun
She
when
was
she was good.
really fun at release, dude.
I
You increase
agree.
her numbers, and she becomes the
Also-
worst thing in the world to deal with.
She doesn't have missiles, which apparently she has in Overwatch now.
So that's
where
actually
are
an
those?
issue with like porting Overwatch heroes. It just sucks that Overwatch goes, okay, guys, we agree this mechanic sucks. It's time to change it, and they just change it and add like missiles to Diva, and then we're stuck like, damn, dude, we literally had to copy that kit. You guys just changed, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels Hanzo, man.
Yeah, Hanzo too.
yeah.
Scatterarrow's gone now.
He
That's
needed
the
the
thing
nerf,
with
the
Diva.
range nerf though. Like, let's be
I'm
real
with March
Hanzo.
though, because if you increase Diva's numbers, she becomes so frustrating to play against.
She's super impressive.
Yeah, I think she just needs like an actual rework so that, constantly getting back in her mech and stuff like that. Her late game right now, even as it is with her numbers nerf at level 20, she becomes very
Unkillable.
frustrating. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think she
I
just
mean-
needs a blanket rework.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I think a talent rework, maybe. Like, take out some of the stupid stuff, like the emergency shielding and, like, the way that I forget what the laser is even called that, like, refreshes your thing at 20. Like, those can definitely get removed, I think. And then buff numbers to compensate. Like, I don't know.
So
I see what you're saying, though, yeah.
I think damage on her auto attack is where the power should be going, as opposed to actual like making the mech strong. But because she literally does nothing in mech, dude. Every time I play her, I feel like I'm literally go in, try to die, but just before I die, press the E button, and then try not to die, and then try to die again. Like, it's just so boring. I don't do anything. Like,
She's way
whereas-
more effective as like a body block unit than like any actual
Exactly.
damage
Well, her
numbers.
hitbox is huge, dude. But
Yeah.
but seriously, if you just gave her like tons and tons of attack damage in the mech, and made it have a super harsh damage fall off, to where if she was standing melee, she was doing like as much as a carry, and if she's hitting you at max range, she's doing like she's tickling you. I feel like that would be super fun in terms of making her all about that positioning and body blocking element, and giving her wave clear, so you can actually do something in the mech other than just try and die. And then they would focus you, so you would still die, but you like
What-
it'd be skillful while you do it. Like-
So she had really strong autos before, and then it was nerfed, and then it was buffed. Are we back to the original, or is it still like 2 less?
Still
Because
a
it's
lot
something
less.
like 22
Yeah,
or
it's-
24, right?
I want to make
Still
it like
less.
50. Yeah, maybe.
Double it?
Well, yeah, you want it to have fall off, so that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
completely different beast. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
So
fall off.
wherever
I think
it would
fall off
fall
is
within
cool.
that spectrum would be the damage marker.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is Diva has a new ability in Overwatch where she shoots rockets now. And I'd be curious if they were to bring something like that over to give her a DPS burst, right? They'd have to give her a new activate. But that is something that, does feel super lacking in her. That would get, that burst ability would, she shoots a bunch of rockets in a short period of time. They don't do a ton of damage, but they do enough to feel relevant. It would give her like snap clear, then she can rotate, and I don't know. I think that would alone fix it, and also keep her consistent with Overwatch, which is always going to be a goal for Blizzard. I feel.
Wait, what ability got cut for
she
rockets?
didn't. She never
No.
had an E in Overwatch.
Yeah, they gave her something else.
Yeah, she never had.
They
an E.
invented ults for heroes. So yeah, but I think making the W more responsive as well. And like, if you rework the entire hero, the investment is huge. And while I do think it could be good, I do feel there's actually potential in the kit she has right now. I don't think it's worth making like an entire new hero just to keep her in line with Overwatch.
I mean, I don't
is
think
my
you need to make
impression.
her a new hero. I think you just give her another bit of spice.
What about the Vikings?
Nope.
I
they don't
honestly just
matter,
wouldn't
dude.
touch them.
Vikings and
Like-
Chagall can burn in a fire. Like,
Oh. Okay, well, let's not touch on that one because there's a billion things you could do.
When was the
I think
last
the
time?
Vikings are way too
Uh-oh.
complex for most people that investing time to rework them, like, even if they were like OP, for like how many people are actually going to pick up Vikings?
dude, I'd be so upset if Vikings
So-
became meta. I'd be so upset.
No, wait.
First ban Vikings every
Oh,
hero
God.
game.
But imagine instead of like reworking and giving them like a new talent tree or something, they literally decided we're just making Vikings again, and this time we're making it so each one of them soaks 25% XP or something, or 33% XP, and
Oh, God.
each one of them has a kit. So it becomes a 3-man fighting hero, and you stick all 3 of them in the like one lane, and you like micro them. Like, if you completely swapped what Vikings are from being like fake heroes, like basically minions that just soak XP, to actually being 3 Vikings that you fight together with. Imagine how fun that would be.
That would be interesting, but it'd be a different hero. Like,
Yeah, well, it should be. Like, Vikings right now, I do not want to exist whatsoever.
Yeah,
like no doubt in my mind. If I could press a button and Vikings would never have existed, I'd press it so fast it would break. Like,
I think Vikings is probably the biggest disappointment of all of Heroes ever for me. Is I was a Meepo player in original Dota, and Vikings was like I thought I would like the Vikings, and then it was the biggest disappointment of all time. Like they don't have a like it just.
I remember the episode of TownHall when the Vikings was announced. We're like, yo, the StarCraft players with the 8 p.m. They're gonna be so sick. It's gonna be the coolest thing, esports. Yeah, didn't go that way.
What if you got to choose which Viking you played as intermittently?
Oh, that's
So if you
interesting.
needed a warrior, you could play as Olaf. If you needed a ranged assassin in your comp, like a true multi-class hero, but you only actually just played one and you made each of the heroes just like actual
Or
power.
you could
I mean, you're
choose
just making
when you
3
respawn.
I
different-
like that idea.
You
So
choose
you
when you
could
respawn.
play-
It cycles.
Yeah,
probably
every
not
time
when
you
you
respawn.
respawn.
Yeah.
You
Well,
probably
I-
need like a hut or something, you know?
So every
like,
time you
Viking
hearth, you have
hut.
the option to select a.
Yeah, something like that.
So
Yeah.
Choose your
what if
character.
one of them was the auto splash damage for your early game
Balog.
soaking, or whether
Yeah,
you
if you
wanted
need
that
wave clear.
secondary tank? Ooh, I think
And then
Colin nailed it.
I don't know. That's kind of what I thought that they should do, because I don't like the heroes that. It's so tough to balance those heroes that globally affect the map. The
Yeah.
Abathurs,
Yeah.
the Vikings.
Too-
so just
too
take it
impactful.
away. You could still make them really, really cool if you did something like that.
I
And-
actually love that idea, dude.
And your talent diversity could still be there. Like you could buff like a certain hero. Like let's say I wanted Olaf for the late game. He had early game talents that I wasn't really going to use. So you could sacrifice your early game Eric talents for late game Olaf, so that if you could survive towards the late game, all of a sudden you've been specking into Olaf most of the game. And then by late game, Olaf is like your secondary bruiser or vice versa. But
Nice.
the base
So-
kit remains the same for
Here's
each
a fun
different
idea.
hero.
It's like Murky's egg, right? But it's like the Viking hut. So you build the Viking hut, and you can change heroes at the Viking hut. But if the Viking hut dies, then you have to Hearthstone to get it back, or die to get it back.
Do you have to harvest lumber before you can build the Viking hut? Like,
I don't think so. I think it's just
Okay,
Hearthstone.
okay.
You know?
Gobi was going
I
to be all
gotcha.
about that.
it sounds,
Yeah.
sounds like a cool idea.
I need to just
I actually
inject this
really like that.
really quick. Perfect 1010. If you're here, post in the chat. You won the wrenched horse. It was in the chat, but you haven't replied, so post there now. Viking hut, cool idea. So the whole reason we got on this topic was heroes that need the rework the most. I think the general consensus landed on Raynor. We know that one's happening. Vikings.
I
We
will-
said this. Is
I
a
will
cool
say the
idea.
other hero has got to be Asmodean. Just throwing that out there. We don't have to go
Oh,
down that
absolutely.
route, but
I agree.
Asmodean.
Asmo, yeah.
You guys are you guys know he's.
They
Wait,
also
are you-
then they confirmed
all
that in the
trolling me
QA.
right now?
They
Yeah,
confirmed that
yeah,
in
they
the
are
QA,
changing
yeah.
him.
Why? Wait, tell me why he
He's
needs
like super
change.
linear with his build.
No,
Pad, like
okay.
There's three
hang
different
on.
builds.
No. He needs changing because his Q does not do anything unless like you pick it.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen his baseline Q? It does less damage than like a Cassia auto attack, dude. This is insanity. Like,
Oh, so you're saying to buff the boy is what you're saying?
no.
Just
make it
I
more
mean,
no, I'm
interesting.
with you.
keep in
like-
mind that a lot of the changes that they've made towards heroes like Zul and a lot of the specialists and Sylvanas and things like that, they've taken away PvE and tried to put it more into PvP. And I feel like Asmodean is a perfect example of somebody that has incredible PvE damage without a whole lot on his base kit. So I feel like if they take away from the PvE and add more to the PvP, then I wouldn't be surprised if that's the exact same route, because that's where they've been taking a lot of their heroes as of late.
kill
I
the
can see that.
general, make him a real hero.
Yeah,
General
dude.
Repel.
Kill
I'm
the
down.
general.
no, dude, they're giving the general baseline Sunfire Cape. They're just gonna make it more annoying.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's good too.
Vampire Cape.
That's
no,
actually
no,
what's
no.
happening.
They meant the demon warriors, so the demon warriors actually do stuff, but the general, hopefully that's gone.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
love if that was gone. Okay, so Tassadar. I think Tassadar should just get
Oh, yes,
basically completely reworked. Like, honestly, Don't make him a support. Like, get rid of the shield. Just make him a mage. Like, you can even keep the alties. You can make him a mage and keep the alties because Force Wall is super cool. Like, just kill it. We've seen Tassadar for years in the game now just be an absolute dumpster fire of, like, this hero is
Trying to
ridiculously broken
Yeah.
or absolute garbage. Like, just rework him.
Yeah, I'm down with
I
that.
think you
So
if you
they
rework,
keep-
you 100% have to take the shields away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
But wait. They keep saying AMAs every time Tassadar has ever come up in any forum post or AMA or like even Twit longer. The line is, "Oh, we love that he's an enabler." But that's like the worst part, dude. Like every time he actually does his job, he's terrible for the game. Like,
Yeah.
and then he gets crushingly nerfed, like 35% win rate, and then he gets a rework. Like,
And they're
He's
like, "Why is-
actually like
guys,
the
why did we
lowest
leave
with
Tass at
Cho'Gall right
30%
now.
win rate? Yeah. It's like they forget why they left him in the dumpster and they pick him back up and like, let's polish him up, put him back on the top shelf. It'll be great, guys. Everyone will love it.
Nope.
I don't know. Tass is, he's a tough one. He doesn't fit thematically, does he? Like
No,
he doesn't
he's a,
fit
he's
how
a,
he
he's
is
a
in StarCraft.
sentry. He's a
No.
sentry.
Okay.
Like he is
Yeah.
not a Templar at all. He's a sentry with Psystorm. Like
Yeah.
I love
Mm.
Tassadar as a like hero, dude. I feel like the potential for Tassadar with that model and with Archon and stuff like is so huge, but
he would have to not be
Yeah.
a support. Though he'd have to be a mage. They'd have to give him like a mana burn mechanic, which doesn't exist. And
Cooldown pausing. Cooldown pausing is
okay.
something they added lately to Dota that like is so cool that would work perfectly to replace feedback like on a high Templar. Like
absolutely agree.
any cooldowns you have that are currently like on cooldown, so it doesn't affect your abilities that you're ready to use. It's like if an ability is on cooldown and he hits you with the ability, it pauses the cooldown for a while. It is such a cool skill-based debuff that would
Dude.
be awesome.
Wait,
It's
that's
a
actually
Maiev
amazing.
counter. It's actually a Maiev counter, dude. Like, finally counterplay to like those heroes that dive in and just like reset and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it's an interesting form of a silence. Like pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very tactical silence that
Yeah.
requires like a lot of
that
decision.
could be
and stuff.
super compelling. I agree. Dunk, why don't you work for the Heroes team, please? Please.
Yeah, Dunk, come on.
and don't get just played.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no pressure.
Dunk. Hey,
No.
Dunk, do it.
No,
Hey, Dunk. You know what
Yes,
you should
Dunk.
do?
I've never replied. Kappa.
Oh, there's the Kappa.
There's the cap.
Ass.
Hate to see the Kappa.
F's in the chat.
All right.
Okay, so who else? Tass is my big one, I think.
I mean, I said
Oh,
Brightwing all
it's
day because just
Tass
she
is
has
number
no
one
builds.
on my list, actually.
I just don't like Tass.
Brightwing, I can see. I think Brightwing is tough. Like
Just
we
need
mentioned earlier,
balance.
global heroes are just tough to balance.
Yeah.
I can't really blame them for how hard it is to get Brightwing right.
Yeah.
The fact that they, when they reworked some of her talents a little bit, like retuned them, and they put so much into her Z talent, surprised
Mhm.
me more than anything.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it
Like
feels like
147, oh, this was her current build. Let's make sure that this is 100% the build. When I'm like, that is not how this hero should work.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
And
I think.
that really surprised me probably more than anything.
Honestly, the thing about Brightwing is just there's no way to make a hero that has a global and no targeted heal viable. Like,
Yeah.
I think
it's
she needs
either
a full rework, like change
it's
her
OP,
completely.
it's OP and she's picked like a lot, or it's completely useless. There is no line like at all. She's falls through the line every time. I would love to see a shield on her W. So you can cast it on an ally and it's a shield, or you can cast it on an enemy and it's polymorph. I think that would solve most of her issues.
Interesting.
Just make her Z
Well-
blink heal.
Yeah, pretty much. Right.
You
I
all-
agree with that. Like give
So
away,
you
take
could
away
double
phase
up
shift.
though on somebody if you had a shield which could absorb damage and spell armor on your E. Like you're just cycling out
Yeah,
defensive cooldowns potentially.
But that's the point. Is she's an enabler. She is a global enabler. So if she's not with the team, you don't get to enable your diver. So every time you want to fight with a Brightwing comp, she has to come. That solves the global issue.
So, Brightwing used to be really OP a long time ago, where she had like way too much healing. But what made Brightwing fun was the moments when you could blink heal onto an ally, poly that target, and then pixie dust that ally to get them out of there. Like that kind of interaction of her like snapping to like, phase shift is like a wind up global. I'm gonna sit in lane, and ever since they nerfed all the clear for supports, Brightwing has just been a trash can because she can't sit in a lane across the map, effectively clear well, and then phase shift to the fight. Also, we're talking about the taboo that is becoming global in general. Do we want her to have all that kind of power in one kit? No. So take away her global. But what March said, give her the blink heal on her Z, and let them make those fun, creative plays. Because I want Emerald Wind to still be a super powerful heroic, right? Blink heal should feel like some kind of burst sustain, but more her mobility than anything else, right? Just to get in there and drop the poly. That's usually what the effect was anyways. Repositioning for that huge polymorph that feels like, ooh, got him, let's go. That's me. That's what I feel.
All right, I'm gonna put my application in.
If Emerald Wind also healed, would
be so busted.
That'd be
so busted.
Heal teammates, but also push your team.
She gets
What if
the additional
reset the
pulsing
cooldown
from
on Soothing Mist?
yeah. So
Easy
it
mode.
already gives you more Soothing Mist.
Yeah, it does.
Or what if it just like reset the cooldown on, or sorry, reduce the cooldown on it for the next, I don't know, 8 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
don't-
really
I don't
thought
even
much
know where
about
to go with
Brightwing.
That is what
I haven't thought much
that
about
is
her.
what I'd want her other heroic to be, is if we were to move phase shift to Z. I say we, but some kind of like, just berserk mode, not berserk, but like overflowing magic where she's pulsing more and her cooldowns are halved for like a 6-second window where she can like drop 2 polys in a fight, throw out a few arcane flares in the fight, have more healing. Because if you're, conceding, something like Emerald Wind, which is huge CC, you should be able to at least do something similar, in my opinion. But yeah. All right, we are actually running out of time because we've been talking about reworks for like
One last hero. Phobius, dude.
There's so many.
oh
dude.
god.
Dude, Phobius is stuck between being like a weird builder hero and being like an actual mage. If he was either one, I think he'd be fun, but he's just stuck in the middle. And so he's got like 0.2% popularity.
I hate Probius.
Same.
Yeah, I just can't talk about Probius.
No way. I have no way to fix this hero. He's just yeah.
Like
I don't
the thing
Alright.
is, I don't even know if Probius needs a rework because I just think about Probius as like this hero is the hero for people who don't actually want to play the same game as everyone else. Like
Yeah.
he's
I
like
agree.
he's like Gazlo, Probius. Like just leave him in the corner and let people want to play those things, and hopefully it's not in my games.
We're missing
how I
the
feel.
real question here, because we actually have somebody in this call with insider information that spoke to Probius.
God damn it. Just because I'm fluent in probe doesn't mean that I know where he's going.
Jake, do you have any inside information on Probius's thoughts?
He's a dead hero and he should remain dead, and I never want to interview him again. I almost fell on my face during the interview because I had to squat next to a camera, and I'm like, I'm not the most fit human in the world. I'm working on it, but like, I'm sitting there squatting, like, it was kind of awk, and my posture was not great, but I seriously thought I was gonna fall over on camera and become a meme. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Actually, there's one more hero, guys.
Oh,
It's
God.
Chromie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Chromie
Chromie,
definitely
dude.
needs some changing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
I don't
so-
think there's anything wrong with there.
Here's the thing, right?
Why are you
It's-
looking away?
Chromie has so many like stupid add-ons because her kit's so bad they had to somehow make it balanced. So she can literally spam Q on cooldown and leave like sands on and gain mana. Like what is this, dude? Like
Facts.
Very little counterplay to her time traps as well, which is super aggravating. Temporal loop is very. You're only the only counterplay to temporal loop is have somebody else soak the damage. That is so stupid to me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And all hope the Cremi continues running forward, so you can
Yeah.
actually like get onto it. Like,
Or have someone like gust her or interrupt her as she's casting. But she casts it like out of fog, so you don't even have time to
she
set it
casts
up.
it out of fog, and then she runs backwards if she's smart. So it's like, what can you do? Like,
You sit there and just I can't say that on stream. But yeah.
wow.
Censored.
All right, but let's move on. Seriously.
Let's
Wait, so there's one more hero.
Oh, jeez.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Roster apocalypse will be our last topic. We're only going to be able to kind of tinker with the idea because a lot of it's not confirmed. We can just talk about some of the confirmed changes, and we're not going to go too deep on this show. Roster apocalypse, full discussion will happen after the midseason brawl. Midseason brawl's coming up very soon, and you can see. I just got to say, why the hell did they rename to Genji?
Generation G?
man.
No, it's Genji.
This was the most disappointing thing of my life, actually. So KSV, like it's Kevin Chu, Korea, Silicon Valley. They made Seoul Dynasty, which has such sick branding, and they were saying, "Hey guys, we're literally gonna spend as long as this takes to make the best brand ever in esports." And I was so excited to see what they could do, and they finally announced it, and it's literally Genji.
Genji.
Like, oh my dude, like. What
the
a huge
Koreans, and they're just
disappointment.
like Mata. Genji's an awesome Japanese hero, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't get that.
Wait, is it actually Genji or is it Genji?
I think it's
Genji,
Genji,
but
I think it's Genji.
It's Genji, but I
We're
always
calling
read
it Genji in the hero scene.
Oh, it's
for
totally
sure.
Genji, dude. It's Genji. Mata. But yeah, looking at the groups here, I mean, it's obviously a monster event. The way that they did things different this time around, if you haven't been following, is that the teams from the the clashes, like the Western Clash and the Eastern Clash, the region that had a winner got one additional team from their region into this event, which is why there's 3 European teams, there's 3 Korean teams. Personally, I think this is a fantastic way of doing things, because people are always like, oh, NA is the same amount of spots as EU in previous years. Well, guess what? They figured out a cool way of fixing that and making it feel like the top regions at the moment have the highest representation. I mean, which group's harder? They both look pretty damn hard.
Group A.
I think Group
Oh
A
my
is
gosh,
harder,
Group
for
A.
sure.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Group A by a long shot. I feel like Group B, everyone in Group B that is a top performing team are smiling and clapping all the way to Sweden.
As someone that works at Dig, I can confirm when I saw this group, I was like, okay, we got the easier one, but like it's still pretty good. And then they swapped Ballistics and Tempest. And I was like, oh my god, it's even better. Like,
Dude, that's what I said, but the opposite. Like the literal opposite. I was like, okay, this can't get much worse, sort of thing. And then it happened. I'm like, well, it just got worse.
So we got to go with the big questions. Bakery, how are you feeling about your group? Not your group, but your team's group.
That's weird to say, right? I'm just feeling really good, honestly. I feel like, I don't actually have any involvement with the team. Just to clarify, in case someone's confused, like I don't work with them very closely. I kind of work with them sometimes, but mostly they kind of have everything under control. So I don't have any input on the in-game, at least. But like what I can say is I feel like they're gonna do really well, and I would be very surprised if they don't come top seed.
I will say that this is no disrespect to any other teams, but I'd be surprised if Dignitas even drops a game in the group stage. Like unless the meta has just shifted so drastically, I would be really surprised if they even drop a game.
That's what I like to hear.
I mean, they're one for multiple reasons. One, they're that good, but then when I look at the matchups between a Tempest, a Heroes Hearth, and Method, I feel that matchup-wise, they match up incredibly well against all of those teams, and I think that is the it's more about a matchup. It's not saying the other teams are necessarily worse, but I'd say matchups. Like if they had Ballistics in their group, I'd say it's much harder. If they had Fnatic in their group, I'd say it's much harder. If they had Tempo and obviously Genji, but I think all of those teams actually stylistically match up better with Dignitas versus, say, Tempest, Heroes Hearth, Method. I think that those do not match up well with Dignitas.
Jayha, while we're talking about this group just generally, since we both cast Open Division together last year, we got to watch Heroes Hearth go from being the amateur team to making it through, joining HGC, and now make it to an event like this. They're still the young team here at the end of the day. Where do you think they stand in this group?
The thing that scares me the most is if they take their meta from the playoffs and put it into an international environment. Historically, that has never worked. That type of meta has historically never, ever, ever done well at large international events. I think they're a fantastic team. I think they're incredibly talented. And I think that if they can play a bit more standard, I think it's going to benefit them a lot more. But that meta that they showcased during the playoffs has never worked to get to the later stages. So if they do, then by all means, they show that they're an absolutely incredible team. But it does. I think that they're good enough to get out of the group stages by far. They're definitely good enough, especially in that group. But it will be interesting to see how far they can take that meta.
The one thing I will say is I think Heroes Hearth is in probably the best position they could have asked for, where I don't think they can lose to CE, and I don't think they can lose the Horizon class winner, whoever that is. So I think they literally have like a week-long group stage where they get to practice against all the other teams before playoffs. And there's no way they're getting top 2 against Tempest or Dig. But I think like 3rd or 4th, that's a great position to have that week of practice and then to actually show up at playoffs and actually make a run.
I can see them taking down Method pretty easily, and I actually see them giving a tough test to Tempest, depending on how Tempest is playing at the time. Because Tempest is like the ultimate wild card for me, is that team fighting for them, they are either really, really good and can take down any team, or they just get a little wild, and then you're like, well, I don't know what we're getting this game, but it'll come down to a team fight. We know that much. So, I don't know. I could talk for days about it.
In addition to that, like they also do really like they make very weird decisions on the map. You'll see something, and as just like a regular viewer, you'll be like, okay, well, they can never do X, Y, or Z, and all of a sudden they do those things, and it's like, what are you thinking, Tempest? But when they're on, they are on. They are among the best in Korea. So that's the big thing for me. I think Heroes Hearth can beat Tempest. I think they can beat CE. I think Heroes Hearth can take a game off of Dignitas as well. But
their map choice, a specific meta, I think would be. It's going to be. I'm really excited to see how they do match up for Dignitas for the reasons you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You said Zed in chess, just like, wait, call us British?
Canadian.
Yeah. Just
Canadian,
Brits,
by the way.
Brits of America. Let's swap over to Group A. Kala, I mean, Tempo Storm. You guys are in this group with Genji, Fnatic, The One, Ballistics, and Mind Freak. They just called it the Group of Death compared to Group B. How do you feel personally? Not your team, you.
I think that Group A is going to be really fun to watch personally as a viewer. For everybody watching, I think that as a member of Tempo Storm, it's honestly, it's terrifying. It's the last group setup that you want to have. You want to, especially coming as first seed, getting put into this, like that sucks. That really does not feel good. It means that you are put in a worse situation for being the better team like the team that is #1 seed, and I think that's super unfair. Obviously, Blizzard has already said that they're making some changes to the way that they're doing some seeding, especially when it came to Korea, which is nice. But looking at this, it means that we have a lot of work to do. We're going to be boot camping over in London at the Red Bull Gaming Sphere, specifically getting to play against Dignitas, which I am personally very excited for. I think we're going to have the best possible practice moving in. I think that Heroes Hearth's practice against probably Fnatic will be their main scrim partner, and maybe some other teams in EU won't be as good as our practice against Dignitas. And as long as we're able to, adapt to the tournament meta and play our game well, I think that we can get out of this group. It's just going to be very difficult.
Challenge.
Yeah, I spoke about how Heroes Hearth are in a great spot because they could get 3rd or 4th. I think you're in a not great spot because if you swap the places, I think you guys are looking for 2nd or 3rd in Group B, whereas you're looking for 3rd or 4th in Group A. That's kind of what I meant there.
Yep. No, and obviously I want better than that, but I think if you're to look at the teams and how they rank up I think that is pretty reasonable to say. But and again, it just points back to that first fact, the fact that number 1 seed gets put into a worse position, and that doesn't feel nice.
I will say, Tempo versus Dignitas is super intriguing to me. I'm going to be very bold in what I'm going to say, because it's almost impossible, and I'm probably going to get flamed for this.
I'm ready.
Get your
But
torches out.
To flame.
Okay, so Snitch for me is probably one of the best in the world, okay, at his role. Wubby is by far the best in his world. I do, however, really, really think that Psalm and Fan are an incredible backline duo. And I think they match up really well with Dignitas strictly due to their metas. And that matchup of Psalm Fan versus Snitch Poik is really intriguing for me. I actually think that Tempo stands a really good chance against Dignitas.
Disagree.
I
agree.
I'm sure.
I'm with you.
But JPL for me, by the way, JPL statistically and what he's shown this year is by far the best he's ever looked. And statistically, he's like the #1 ranked tank in like almost every major category. Obviously, it's a product of the environment with Dignitas, so like they are by far the #1 team. But matchup-wise, I think that Tempo looks good.
I'm looking
That's why I'm
forward to
hoping
seeing
he gets
where they show
scrims.
up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the scrims too. If only we could see them, but we'll never see them. What you guys should do is record them and publish them after MSB. That would be hype. Just
That
saying.
would be interesting.
Yeah, because you would never broadcast that before an event. But
It depends how much the patch after MSB changes it, to be honest. Because if it's like, hey guys, we've literally changed the way forts work and 50 heroes are different, then like, sure, dude, let's get those out there. But if it's like a minor patch for the next 6 months, which is a legitimate risk in heroes, then definitely not going anywhere near that.
well, yeah, that's a good point. And
So
you
no
actually,
promises, but
well, you set us up wonderfully because Phase 2 will have a third ban and a lot of changes, and that's one of the topics we'll be having on our next show. We'll be talking more about roster apocalypse, and we'll be talking about just the upcoming changes for Phase 2, as it's going to be changing quite a bit, in my opinion, for the better, because third ban is something the pro community asked for at the start of the year. Everybody was like, we need a third ban, we need a third ban. I think it's going to be great for the game. It's going to be rolled into the first half of the game too, so it's going to be good. That is indeed the end of this episode. People are saying Town Hall's going to have a next show. Of course we have a next show, but we're not going to promise it's going to be next week. With it, Mid-Season Brawl is right around the corner. A lot of people are going to be traveling for that next week. So I would say it's, in fact, unlikely, but right after the Mid-Season Brawl at the very least. Mid-Season Brawl will be happening, June 9th through 13th. So maybe we can do a show next week. We'll keep you guys updated. Just be sure to follow the Town Hall Heroes Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and do shout outs first because I'm already rambling. Moving forward, like I said at the start of the show, if you missed it, Arcane 8 is kind of going into hibernation. I've come to the conclusion that I simply do not create enough content to justify having a second channel for a show here and there. And, I'm going to be doing, a variety of content on this show, from normal streams to this. I'm doing a new show called Town Hall Artifact in the future. I'll probably cast events on this channel too. For me, it just makes more sense to focus on a single channel where people that want to subscribe to me can just have one place to go for that, because that was always a conflict of interest where people were subbing to Arcane 8, not subbing to here. That affected, when you're trying to hit new sub counts and stuff, get new emotes. I was competing with myself, right? And is Arcane 8 completely dead? No, I still want to make Arcane 8 a thing. Where will it be a group of streamers or something? Maybe, right? I don't know where it's gonna land long term, but just make sure you follow this channel on Twitch and on YouTube. For this, the MP3 will exist in its same home as it always has, and I'm working on all kinds of other new content. And the 29-month sub hype, dude, Archamath, you're a god, thank you. But Dunkus, shout outs to you, man, and to all of you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks to our wonderful guests today. Also, shout out to the Dorm production team. You guys were fantastic. Appreciate all the work that Bernard and Patrick especially did, and my fellow casters at Dorm. You guys were great to work with. I had a blast doing it. I'm so happy I actually was offered and accepted to do the Dorm stuff. Like it actually was so much more fun and engaging than I had even anticipated. So props to all of them for putting on a good show. Was really happy with it. If you guys want to catch me, you can always follow me on Twitter at DunkTrain or check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DunkTrain.
Just follow those links, everyone. Baker Rizzle, I can see you eager to talk.
A bit of a weird shout out for me, which is kind of just an apology for dropping off the face of the earth. You know, I do miss my presence in Heroes a lot. But having said that, I don't know when I want to pick it back up again. I still follow the game. I still watch HCC. I still love the community in the game, but I don't think I've played a game, I think, in around 3 months now. So yeah, that's kind of weird shout for me. Follow me on Twitter.
I mean, if you didn't know, the disclaimer is Baker is a full-time job with Dignitas now. So he's this your first real full-time career outside of being a gamer?
Yeah. I mean, of course. I began playing when I was 17.
Really yeah. So I mean, it's only natural. It's only natural, and we're happy that you're willing to hop on here for Town Hall here and there. Kala, my boy.
I wanted to give a shout out to you for inviting me onto the show. Thank you very much, and everybody here for all the wonderful conversation. Thank you to all of the viewers who tuned in. Also, just for all of the support that I've had. I usually just shout out my team and stuff like this, but I want to shout out the community that supports me. So from starting casting with Haloran last year, moving into the open division of HGC, and then getting to cast Crucible and stuff like that. Over the past year, my life has become a dream. It's insane. I've been able to quit my full-time day job. I now work here. I stream and coach for a living, and I get to do stuff like this. And it's mind-blowing. And I'm just so thankful that everybody has supported me to get me to this point. You can follow me on Twitter just below, and also my Twitch. I stream almost every day, and I host a very educational environment on my Twitch channel. So be sure to check it out, and my Discord, which is discord.gg/Kala. And yeah, thank you again for having me on here.
I love you, homie. March.
Yeah, same. Shout outs to you guys for having me on. Shout outs to the viewers for being here, of course. And shout outs to you guys for making Dorm so fun also. That was sick. Pleasure to be here. And yeah, you guys can follow me down here. Twitch and Twitter at GGMarch. Just got back from a pretty long vacation time, so you can see a lot more streams coming up from me.
Starting tonight, right?
Yep.
Good boy. Commit. Jay Hizzle.
Yeah, for me, I've been picking up my stream quite a bit more, especially during this downtime, acclimating to California. So finally back on the stream life, which has been really enjoyable as of late. So any of you guys that want to stop by there, I'm taking a page out of Kala's book. I've been doing some coaching lately as well on stream. It's been really entertaining and educational, I think, not only for other people, but for me, because I get to figure out how to do it after watching Kala do it. So I've been trying to do that quite a bit. I also do replays of pro games and stuff, so you can kind of get in the mindset of what they're looking at. So really been trying to bring a little bit of different content to my stream as well. The other thing, again, the 3v3 tournament this weekend, all the details are on my channel. It's going to be streamed on my channel. And again, it's 4 community streamers, including March, 8 pro players. We're doing some fun stuff there. And again, it's all for charity. So you guys can check that out. There's going to be more announcements on my Twitter, another Reddit post and things like that. So a lot of social media will be out there about that. But I appreciate you guys having me on the show. And it's always fun to talk heroes. And I feel like 2 hours is not enough because we probably talk about 8 hours, but it's obviously needs to have an ending at some point, just like the shout out.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, yeah.
Smooth.
Real talk is Colin, March, Dunk, and I were all in the hotel room, and I was just talking about the game. I was like, yo, I miss doing this. And, Town Hall was the 6-week break is forever long. So it was a blast tonight. Look forward to more soon. And that does it for 173. We'll see you next time. Check out JHouse Tournament, twitch.tv/JHouse44444. This 44 isn't there. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Welcome here to TownHall Heroes. Happy birthday,